Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? Please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button. Thank you so much for getting us to 40,000 subscribers before the end of 2025. Really appreciate that. Can we maybe get to 50,000 before the end of 2026? I still find it quite incredible that my channel grew its quickest during Charles's coronation. Like, there was something about Charles's coronation that really drove people to my channel. Like, it's quite incredible. Even the Queen's death didn't do that. But thank you to everybody who has been here from the beginning, who continues to be here. I appreciate you all so much. And I feel like we're only just beginning, because Harry and Meghan left, and then, they had to slowly start building their life outside of the royal fold. So we're now at the beginning phases of, I think, all the great things that are going to come. Thank you so much to Elaine Parker for being a member for 42 months. Appreciate you so, so much. Merry Christmas to you all. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everyone, whatever you're celebrating. Hope you are all feeling safe and rested. Do take a break from social media and the news cycle just to slow down during this time. Now, I feel like there's a lot of messaging online about, the last couple of weeks of the year, like, lock in, wrap everything up. It's like, you know what? It's okay to just slow down. It's okay to just slow down, look after yourself. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Alrighty, let's get into it. There's a couple of things today. First things first. Merry Christmas to all of the ladies and allies of ladies. Andrew Tate got beat to a pulp, and so did Jake Paul. This is going to be actually the best end to the year that I could have imagined. Just everything that I would have hoped for at the end of 2025, and let 2026 be the year that the British government finally extradite this numpty and lock him up for his crimes. Had absolutely enough of him. They need to make an example of him. Make an example of him. Throw the so-called king of misogyny in jail. Now, I love that he did get knocked out, but don't be celebrating too much the guy who knocked him out, because the guy who knocked him out is actually still an Andrew Tate fanboy, by the way. After the match, it was all like, oh, he's my hero. I survived because of him. But it was still glorious to see. Also, Anthony Joshua knocking the ish out of Jake Paul. Apparently, a lot of people didn't know about Anthony Joshua outside of the UK. Anthony's always been gorgeous. He's Nigerian. Anthony Joshua actually met Meghan. He was at the I don't actually have a clear picture of Anthony, even though he's hella fine. I don't have a clear picture of him on the screen. You can only see his legs of Jake Paul fighting for his life. But at the final event that Harry and Meghan did, the Commonwealth ceremony, when Meghan was wearing that green cape, the green cape dress, Anthony Joshua was actually there. And he has been a big supporter of Harry and Meghan. And here he is knocking the ish out of Jake Paul. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right, let's get to it, because the new year is going to bring new challenges. And Oh no, not this. The new year is going to bring new challenges, but hopefully also some new wins. And oh, I just realized that I put the wrong article for Feminagra. So the article that is meant to be on the screen, it's not the Thomas Markle didn't want the public to know Meghan had written to him, which is also true. I don't know if I actually covered this one in too much detail, but it's not the story we're focusing on today. The story we're focusing on today, because I feel like we can put the whole Thomas Markle debacle to bed. It's about journalism in the United Kingdom and Harry and Meghan. And the way royal journalism just turned into, I mean, it was always a farce, right? It was always propaganda. But how, because of the fracture within the royal family, how it ultimately just turned into just a war, a personal war against Harry and Meghan, to the point where even the royal rotorats themselves then made it personal. And they made it personal because they have never been in a situation where they have been told no. I mean, this is quite an old cover of the Daily Fail with Piss Moron, but it says, "My war with Harry and Meghan," but there's only a picture of Meghan on this headline. The full newspaper cover, the other story was about David Lammy. Harry was not on this cover, but it says, "My war with Harry and Meghan." And it just shows how they really center Meghan in a lot of most of the vitriol. Like, they throw a lot at Harry too, but it's really Meghan, because they feel like, you know, she took our prince, our boy, as if their boy wasn't running out of them castle doors, happy to escape. And it's just been interesting to see how the Rota in particular have been behaving and still just don't seem to be getting over it. They lost access in 2020 when Harry and Meghan left. They lost access then. And they have continued to try and gain access. The likes of Jan Moir flying 11 hours to LA and 11 hours back to complain about $24 jam. This rabid, almost rabid dog behavior, like a narcissist, right? Where they can't believe you left them. They can't believe you left them for greener pastures and a hotter new partner. That's what they're behaving like. It's like that narcissistic ex who left you for someone hotter and better. So, from Feminagra, when royal journalism became a personal war against Harry and Meghan, royal British coverage crossed the line some time ago. Reporting gave way to campaigning, and that's how I would describe it, actually. It's more like campaigning. They're on this campaign to create a narrative about Harry and Meghan as opposed to just reporting the news. And you saw this a lot recently with the narrative around Meghan and her father. We don't all need to be offended on behalf of Thomas Markle, but for some reason, the British tabloids want to create offense. Oh, can you believe Meghan's not talking to her dad? Can you believe she's not going to go see her dad? Why is it my business? Why is it my business that Meghan doesn't want to talk to her dad? Why is it my business that Meghan sent her an email or sent her a letter? It's none of our business. It's none of our business what Meghan does and doesn't do regarding her father. It's none of our business what was in that letter. I don't know anybody in the squad fandom that wants to know what Meghan said to her dad. We don't want to know. I don't care. I don't care what's in that letter. The only people who care are the Daily Fail. Quite frankly, I hope that Meghan just wrote him a haiku. Like was it 3 letters or 3? No, it's a 3-line Haiku is 3 lines, a 3-line haiku, and left it at that. That's what I hope was in that letter. But again, I don't really care. To continue. Much of the British media now approaches Meghan Sussex and Prince Harry with hostility. A smaller, louder group goes further. These figures cast themselves as the couple's personal advisories, often on the basis of an imagined slight. Yes, it's imagined. This weird parasocial relationship these tabloid rats have with Harry and Meghan. The real offence appears simpler. The Sussexes refuse to accept the narratives written about them, and I'm so glad that they now have a PR person who puts their foot down. Some of the same commentators also admit they never met Harry and Meghan. Oh, this would be the likes of Angela Latrine. They still write with the certainty of insiders. And what's even worse is not only do they write with the certainty of insiders, the people who listen to the likes of Angela Latrine and Camilla the Liar Tominey, they believe that they have some kind of authority. It's insane. This matters because the press shapes how millions understand power, race, and credibility. When commentary starts to resemble persecution, precision becomes essential. This piece sets out what those victims claim, how they build their case, and what they leave out in clear terms with evidence. Camilla Tominey of the Daily Telegraph shaped the narrative early. She rejected the idea that race influenced Meghan's treatment and framed criticism of the British press as over the top. She also reported the claim that Meghan made Kate cry during a bridesmaid fitting, a version later challenged by Meghan. In a separate column on Meghan's guest editorship of British Vogue, Tominey went further, suggesting the project amounted to reverse racism. Oh, yes, I'll never forget this. The absolute audacity of Camilla Tominey. Mind you, Meghan, as princess of the United Kingdom and its realms include majority countries of people of color. But the likes of Camilla Tominey never remember that. Together, these interventions helped establish a climate of skepticism in which Meghan's account was treated as suspect rather than examined on its merits. Piers Morgan pushed the skepticism further. He had, by the way, it says Piers Morgan in Feminagra's article, by the way. That's just me remixing what they wrote. Piers Morgan pushed that skepticism further. He previously acknowledged the monarchy's troubled record on race. Oh, yes, the famous video where he says this, but he now pretends that he didn't. After Meghan spoke publicly about her experience, he reversed course, dismissing her account, including her disclosure of suicidal thoughts and presenting himself as a casualty of her influence. Following his departure from Good Morning Britain, how could we forget? His coverage increasingly framed the Sussexes as dishonest and manipulative while centering his own grievance. Yes, Piers Morgan, one of the architects, by the way, of what we now know as a British tabloid press. He was one of the architects. Him, Murdoch, Rebecca Brooks, Andy Coulson, all of them. Season's greetings, Bruno. Thank you so much for joining us. Helen, you said, I am wondering if any Brits have shown their interest in volunteering from Invictus. So Invictus usually posts as the games approach when you can put yourself forward for volunteering. Have they posted about it yet? Because I haven't seen it. I sincerely hope, oh gosh, not to give anyone ideas, but you know what these people are like? They're going to send their spies and lackeys to volunteer. Helen, and I imagine the Daily Fowl know what Meghan wrote to her father, however, won't divulge as they will be sued. You know, I'm guessing Meghan probably wrote the most simple, saying nothing kind of letter Like she said something, but what she said nothing, if you know what I mean. That's what I think was in that letter. Gee whiz, you said the UK press tried everything to break up Harry and Meghan, beginning with rumors they were dating and discovered she was black. Then they weaponized her white father and his two children against her, indeed. And that has also backfired. We've seen that in the last couple of weeks, haven't we? Because they've all come out looking ridiculous. So, other commentators contributed differently. Jan Moore used ridicule and class based mockery to undermine Meghan's credibility. The same Jan Moore, by the way, who's getting on a plane for 11 hours to LA and back. 22 hours of flying to go look at Meghan's jam. But here she was ridiculing Meghan on class based mockery. Carolyn Graham became personally involved in a family medical crisis, publishing intimate details and presenting proximity of proof of authority. And you just know that Carolyn Graham is going to write a book eventually. I reckon she will. Greedy, unclassy woman, to put it nicely. What links these figures is not only ideology but behavior. Their reporting follows the same pattern. Meghan becomes the primary target. Now, this is exactly what I've said with the cover of the Daily Fail. You don't see Harry there. And the tone turns openly vicious. A wider media ecosystem reinforces it, with dozens of outlets amplifying the same hostility. Prince Harry's defiance of the press is punished indirectly through harsher and more personal attacks on his wife. Yes, and that's always been the goal, to attack Harry's wife. And so to essentially poke the bear so that Harry either breaks and ends his marriage and goes back, or goes more crazy trying to defend his wife. But so far, Harry and Meghan have handled things very well, and where necessary, have handled things in court. This intensity is not applied evenly across the royal family. It remains concentrated on Meghan and, by extension, on the couple's refusal to submit to hostile narratives. The result is a media narrative shaped less by evidence than by repetition, personal grievance, and resistance to a story that challenge long-standing power structures. And this is what they can't stand. In the Diana years, they controlled everything. They had control over the narrative, over all of the papers. We're living in a very different time now. I mean, one of those papers, one of the most popular, had to shut down the News of the World following the phone hacking scandal. Meghan and Harry's public work has been far more extensive than much British coverage suggests. Through the Archwell Foundation, they focus on food security, child safety, mental health, youth support, and global relief with practical impact rather than symbolism at the center. I keep saying this, and I don't know why they haven't done it. I don't know why Archwell does not have social media. You can block people's comments. You can, like Meghan has done on both As Ever and her personal account, just block people's comments. I feel like one of the reasons their work isn't being amplified enough is because they don't have social media. It's the easiest way for them to, get their work out there. I think it is very much that the team are letting them down with this one. I don't know why Harry and Meghan do not do social media for Archwell. Wait, what? Karen, you said I met one of the anti-Meghan spies volunteering in Vancouver earlier this year at Invictus Games. I mean, this is just sad psycho behavior. You don't like someone, so you spend days. I mean, I don't know how many days they volunteered for, but I'm assuming it was at least a couple of days of the games. Volunteering your free time that you're not getting paid. So you could be at a job somewhere getting paid. You volunteer your free time to take part in something for somebody that you don't like. Harry and Meghan's own fans couldn't find time to go and volunteer at the Invictus Games. We have jobs, we've got things to do. But you, a hater, You go and volunteer at the games. I will never understand wanting to be in proximity to somebody who you don't like. Heck, I don't even want to be in proximity to people who I do like, because I think that you should just respect people's space. I don't feel like I need to get into Harry and Meghan's space, or close to them or near them. So the obsession by their haters is just it's a level of delusional and deranged that I will never understand. Like, is that a hater? Is that a fan? A hater fan? They would never get over the fact that Harry chose this pretty black biracial woman in his wife instead of one of those mannequins like his brother did, indeed. And the thing is that, Kate was put on such a pedestal. And then when Meghan came along, to no fault of her own, just made her look so inadequate. And mind you, it never had to be a competition, but what Kate represents, what Meghan represents in the wider, context of society, right? When you look at it from that perspective, you just think, my gosh, how embarrassing was it that Kate was put on such a pedestal? Okay. On to the next thing. So it goes on to talk about all the stuff that Archwell has done that they need to start amplifying on social. And then British commentators frequently minimized or ignored this record. Yeah. And this is another reason why Archwell need to get on social in 2026, because the British media are not reporting fully on what they're doing. They will blast that. We got wall-to-wall coverage of Thomas Markle, but barely anything about Archwell, because they're not going to want to amplify the work that Harry and Meghan are doing outside of the fold of the royal firm, and doing it without taxpayers' money. So the royal household isn't going to want that amplified, and the press isn't going to amplify it, because it goes against all the narratives that Harry and Meghan are being greedy, Harry and Meghan are being self-centered. When mentioned, the work was framed as performative or political, while similar efforts by other royals were praised as duty. This selective treatment narrowed public understanding. The monarchy benefited from Meghan's image, yet failed to challenge racially charged attacks. That silence allowed distortion to take hold. FYI, so William took George to go and do some work. They were what were they doing? They were preparing meals for the homeless without gloves, by the way. Ill handling food that people are going to eat without gloves. And I think that, as usual, they're stealing ideas, trying to copy what Harry and Meghan are doing. The problem is that it doesn't hit the same, because Harry and Meghan are no longer funded by the British taxpayer. So whatever charity work they're doing it off the back of their own time, off the back of their own money, and raising additional funds for charity via their connections and their donors. So William showing up with George to hand out, food for the homeless, when they're going to go back to their public funded castles, when we can't even fund enough beds, hostels, shelters for homeless people, is insane. I will never forget, absolutely haunts me. One morning I got up very, very early. I was on the underground at about 6 a.m. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 homeless men on the underground sleeping. 6 homeless men. I've never seen anything like that in all my years growing up in London. The homeless crisis in the UK is getting worse. It is getting worse. I've driven through there's a couple of parts in London now where there are encampments. I've never in my lifetime seen homeless encampments looking like Skid Row in Los Angeles. But you've got William out here going on about homelessness, and homelessness should be something that's short-lived, and it's insane. Do you know that right now, a lot of the what in order to oh gosh, how would I phrase this? So because they're not putting enough funding towards um getting people off the street, getting people housing, one of the things that churches are doing is they've got like sleeping bag beds in churches, but there's only a limited number of those. So it's like you could be on a waiting if you're homeless, you could be on a waiting list to get on one of those beds. Like that's how bad it is, y'all. That's how bad it is. So it really just when you see William and then bringing the kid along, knowing that they're going to go back to their castles, their public funded castle, it is such a slap in the face. Such a slap in the face. And we had all these articles a few months ago about, you know, the decor that Kate's going to be doing in the house, and I mean, why do we need to know all of that? Exactly, Gee it's such a performance for the cameras. Out here talking about homelessness, but why am I seeing homeless encampments for the first time in my life? All my years living in London. It is such a farce. It is such a farce and it's insulting to us. It is insulting. Anyway, final thoughts on this article. What stands out, sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there. What stands out most is the way certain UK journalists appear to imagine a personal relationship with the Sussexes. The tone is often intimate, even wounded, as though a private bond has been broken. It is an odd spectacle. These writers never met Meghan Sussex, yet they write about her with the familiarity of former confidants. There's something about I'm gonna do a short about this. There's something about Megan's sweet childlike whimsy, I would describe it, that seems to really trigger people. One of the most disappointing things about becoming a grown adult, I am now 35, is you learn how much people project their own insecurities, traumas, and dramas onto other people. It's actually quite a wild phenomenon. But one of the most threatening things that you can be is just happy, full of joy, positive, and minding your business. Because people who are full of turmoil, trauma, and drama that they don't want to that they don't want to deal with themselves, they project it onto other people. And then they come up with these narratives in their mind because they can't access that level of joy, laughter, and whimsy themselves. They start looking at you like you're suspicious. And I think with Meghan, you see that on a grand public scale. Like I said, I'm going to do a video on this because I actually want to respond to another video that I saw, but it was of two women of no color, who were talking about Meghan. And the video started with them like complimenting her, and then they just had to throw in this one little backhanded stab. Oh, but she's just so precious about everything, and she acts like a Disney princess. Like I'm so sorry, this woman is just so full of joy. Like, what do you want from her? What do you want from Meghan? It's like they're so desperate just to see some kind of imperfection. Like they just can't stand it. They just can't stand. And at the end of the day, we're not with Meghan 24/7. I don't think Meghan is a perfect person, but it's like they're so desperate to find something wrong. And it's just like, why are you always digging for something? And I think they just can't get over the fact that, yeah, Meghan is just one of these people. She's really good at a lot of things. She's an overachiever. It's like, what do you want? Some people just have it in them. Oh, and she got the prince. She's such an overachiever, and she's so beautiful and gorgeous, and she's so good at so many things that the prince also wanted her. Like, yeah, she's a chosen one. Some people are just chosen ones. And instead of getting jealous and salty and being a sour grape, why don't you actually take some inspiration from that? Being a sour grape just because somebody else is walking through life blessed, that's not going to bless you. You're just poisoning yourself. Some people are just lucky, but they also work hard. Megan's also a hard worker. Hard work brings you luck. She's been working since she was a kid. So yeah, she is incredibly beautiful and incredibly talented. Multi-talented, multifaceted. And the prince wanted her. Like, get over it. Some people are just blessed. And you just block your own blessings by being a sour grape. Um Thank you so much, Julie Ann. Appreciate you so much. And thank you so much, Elaine Parker, again. Thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you all, folks. You will help keep this show running. Wouldn't run the way it did without you. Yeah, let's try. I've seen so many different documentaries about the homeless encampments in the US, but it's like literal encampments. That's not normal in the UK. Homelessness in general, yes, but encampments, no. That's not normal. Boney, you said I counted more than 6 last week in Birmingham city centre. Every shop doorway was a homeless person while the German market was going. Yeah. Oh dear. Personally, you said, are the British people upset about the homeless problem? Nothing will fix the problem unless the people stop it. Well, all these things is down to government funding. The government funding isn't going where it needs to go, because this is another thing about and what actually makes this whole homeless charity thing that William is doing so insidious, right? There actually shouldn't be homeless charities. There should be secure and defined government programs to deal with homelessness. The reason that there are charities where members of the public and organizations like churches exist to help with homelessness is because there is a gap in where the government should be stepping in. So it's the whole idea of William being involved in homeless charities is just so insidious, because there shouldn't be homeless charities. If William actually wants to help, he'll march himself over to Parliament and and be trying to get something moving in government policy. And please don't tell me that the royals don't get involved in politics, because they do when it benefits them. They do when it protects their wealth. And I think this is something else that we need to actually start calling out. I don't think I've actually even heard anyone say this. It's just come to my mind now. we shouldn't even have homeless charities. There should be clear government programs and policies to deal with this. So why is the future king who lives on an estate sitting here and talking about how he's going to end homelessness? And then it's not just, the fact that people end up on the streets. There are so many um, social, economic reasons that lead to homelessness before that person even gets out cold on the streets. Maybe we can bring in Kate and she can talk about how her early child development, how getting it wrong in the first 5 years might lead to homelessness. Like, when you think about it all, feel like I'm being sarcastic here, but when you think about it all, it's just insane. It's really just insane. I mean, Kate and William on their what? Their fourth or fifth forever home, and you show up with the kids to give out food without wearing gloves. Avid reader, you said William could easily cure homelessness if he refused the sovereign grant money. Exactly. And the government instead used those funds to aid and assist people who actually need it. Exactly. Exactly. Heather, they are triggered by Meghan because they cannot access the levels of love and joy. Indeed. Like, don't hate, appreciate. Get a pen and pad and take notes. That's how you move forward in life. You're not going to move forward in life seething and being jealous of other people. It doesn't get you anywhere. You're just drinking your own poison. And like Meghan said herself, heck, they're probably at home making her pasta pot and rainbow fruit board. I mean, I literally saw a video of a woman making Meghan's rainbow fruit board going, "Oh my God, I hate this. This is so lame. So why are you doing it?" You would have never thought to even present your food properly if it wasn't for Meghan. But you're sitting there acting as if she's not the one that inspired you to do that. Y'all, it's pathetic. Yeah, exactly. Peace and joy comes from within. Peace and joy comes from the within. It's not something you can buy. The monk who meditates in the mountains has peace and joy. He doesn't have anything else. He just has himself. But he still finds peace and joy. Generally, making this too damn nice, she needs to unleash her black side. Oh my God, Church Nelly. Merry Christmas, Church Nelly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, exactly. Meghan surrounds herself with accomplished creative who help her to succeed. That's what you need to do. You are the sum of the 5 people you are closest to. 5 people around you are losers, you're going to be the 6th loser. 5 people around you are doing good in life, you're going to be the 6th person doing good. 5 people around you millionaires, you're going to be the 6th millionaire. 5 people around you billionaires. I mean, Meghan and Harry are on their way to becoming billionaires, are they not? That's just how it works. You should strive to be in spaces where people are smarter than you, more accomplished than you, because success breeds success, right? Success breeds success. Competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens at the top. And a lot of people aren't taught this. They're not taught to self actualize. So what happens? See somebody with a nice car. I'ma get jealous at their nice car. Looking over the garden fence, seeing somebody, they've got the patios looking nicer. Now I'm jealous of their patio. Why don't you ask how they renovated their patio? And then you can have a nice patio. Jealousy gets you nowhere. My mother taught me this. Um, Gwen, the women at the polo match are thirsty over Harry. I didn't know what a star-studded polo match that was. Mariah Carey was there. There were actually quite a few celebrities there, I was quite surprised. I think Eddie Murphy was there. Zed, you said relying on friends and psychopaths is the reason for those disaster rollouts by the whales. Yes. And I wouldn't even call them friends, but definitely psychopaths, relying on psychopaths like Jason Knopf and the weirdos that they have on their team and the courtiers. People who got in their positions because of nepotism and backslapping, and not because they're actually good at their jobs. And we've seen examples of people who are actually good at their jobs, who come from outside the royal fold, come into the royal fold and they run away. Kate and William have had a revolving door. In fact, there was one lady, I believe, who used to do PR for Jamie Oliver and other really big brands. She didn't even start the job before she ran out the door. And I don't blame her. This isn't someone who came from, these aristo circles and was handed the job. She already had major corporate roles outside of the royal fold. And she looked inside them palace walls and said, absolutely not. And she bolted, didn't even start the job. Because people who have actually worked hard and who have work ethic, they don't survive in institutions like this. It's the Jason Knopfs and the Clive Aldertons, crazy sociopaths that are hanging on to their position, that want their position for the sake of status. They're the ones who do very well in institutions like the Royal Institution. Heather, you said, I also believe Meghan will turn these obsessives eventually. Or Meghan Starr will turn these obsessives eventually. I think they hang on because they don't understand why they are attracted. Doreen does need to undo decades of programming. Indeed. Indeed. They don't understand why they're fans. They don't understand why they're obsessed. Yeah, the monarchy is performative. They don't give a damn about the less fortunate. They don't even care about each other. Heck, I don't even think they care about themselves on a deeply spiritual level. They care about their pockets. They care about their wealth. They care about their status. They don't care about their own souls because their own souls are being eaten up by this institution, but they would rather have all of the trappings while they die inside. Nothing glamorous and not a fairy tale at all. Speaking of not a fairy tale, Kate and William's marriage. There was an interesting article that came out in People. Inside Kate Middleton and Prince William's reconnected marriage, he treats her like his bride. Now, interesting use of the word reconnected. I'm sorry, did Kate and William have a breakup that we don't know about? Was there some kind of fracture we didn't know about? Because to reconnect, you would have had to disconnect. So where was the disconnection exactly? Mind you, their marriage and more recent years has been plagued with all sorts of allegations and rumors. Allegations of people running through rose bushes and all sorts. And then he treats her like his bride. It's just a very weird thing to say. I guess I was trying to find a sweet way of they still have the same connection they did when they got married, but it was just really weird phrasing. And why are they so desperate to let us know that there's still a spark in this couple's marriage? Anyway, from Celebrity, whatever happened between Prince William and Kate in 2023 to 2024, they seem to have figured out some kind of agreement. Indeed. Now, they have definitely come to some kind of agreement. Whether it's an agreement that they stay together but have separate lives, or there will someday be a separation, but it's pending. You can definitely tell that the energy is still off, but it's less patchy than it was. They've seemed steadier in a sense this year, meaning there doesn't seem to be the drama of William promoting himself as a sexy, bold bachelor. Yeah, I mean there was a time when they seemed to be rolling out this William the sexy bachelor, the sexy single dad, William the sexy bold bachelor, the sexiest bold man alive. Nor are the Middletons constantly reminding William via tabloid leaks that he's part of their family. Oh yes, we even had Cara Middleton, talking to William and Ascot looking very chummy. I believe since April, May 2024 that a deal was struck between the Windsors and the Middletons, and it's been smooth sailing ever since. William and Kate do a couple of appearances together every few months. They have lots of family vacations. Kate gets a larger manor, Forest Lodge, and William gets to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, while still retaining his family man image. It's a successful marriage in both a modern and Victorian way. They can't admit what's right in front of them. They've been desperately trying to convince themselves for years that William and Kate are hot for each other and that this is still a love match, except and here's from the People's cover story. Those close to Kate Middleton and Prince William say that they have emerged more connected than ever after a turbulent few years. Oh, it was turbulent? What about it was turbulent? After more than 20 years together, the Prince and Princess of Wales, both 43, have shown subtle but unmistakable shifts in their dynamic. Gentle touches, shared smiles, hands resting at each other's backs. When I tell you, this is one of the things that annoys me the most about the way that they report on Kate and William's relationship. Whenever do you hear, in any context, any celebrity couple or even normal life, right, describing a couple's interactions as gentle touches, shared smiles, hand resting on each other's backs? Like, that's just what couples in love do. He treats her like his bride, royal historian Amanda Forum tells People. They seem more loved up than ever. Hmm. Then came the upheavals of 2024. In February, King Charles revealed his cancer diagnosis just as Princess Kate was privately confronting her own, a reality she would not share publicly until March. She didn't just face a life threatening illness, the global internet went after her, Foreman says. It was a character assassination. It was not a character assassination. In fact, people who aren't even fans of Kate were asking where this lady was. Why? Because we know how this institution is. I mean, at one point, people were actually asking, have they unalived her? There were rumors of a coma. Mind you, the palace never sued was it the Spanish magazine that reported that she was in a coma? They never sued that magazine. And that journalist doubled down and didn't backtrack. So it wasn't a character assassination. It was, where the hell is this lady? Is she alive? She just went missing. And the way in which the palace handled the rollout was even more suspicious and weird. It feels like this kind of Will and Kate are so in love rhetoric steadily increased when Prince Harry married Meghan, right? When faced with two people so obviously in love with each other, so tactile and sexy with each other, suddenly William and Kate were us too, we're like that too. The thing is, you would never talk about Harry and Meghan and say things like subtle touches, gentle touches. Like Harry and Meghan are into each other and all over each other. Like it's just so obvious. It doesn't need to be spoon fed to you in the weird wackadoodle way that they spoon feed it to you when they're talking about William and Kate. It doesn't have to be faked. You can just see it. You can see the chemistry. You can feel it. Well, Kate was like that. William still refuses to play along for the most part. Indeed. Indeed. We've seen so many times, William retracting, not wanting to play too much for the cameras, which is fine because so many royalists just blatantly lie, as seen above. Yeah, they behave as if they don't see what William does. William stopped trying to play for the cameras a long time ago. It's so funny to me that they cite William putting his hand on Kate's back as evidence that he treats her like his bride. Most of the time when William does that, he's nudging her along and trying to get her to move. Whenever she tries to grab his ass or touch him, he either swats her away or moves out of reach. But he treats her like a bride, you guys. Exactly. Oh dear. Can't make it up, can you? Let's go to the comments before we read the final article. By the way, make sure that you are following As Ever on Instagram. The As Ever team are doing a great job with content. Meghan's been filming lots of content. I mean, I'm sure there was extra stuff from the With Love Meghan shoots and stuff like that, but a lot of, really cool little edits and stuff that they're doing. So make sure that you're following that. Helen, you said that the coma stems from an alleged incident from the 28th of December. Yeah. I do think that something happened on the 28th, Helen, but I don't think it was what you're saying. I think it was something bad, but something else. But a lot of people do think it was what you're saying, Helen. You're not the only person that said that, but I think it's something else. Cookies and cream. Oh my god. Sir Pigalot and Miss Pretzel Stick McMumbles. Oh my god. How do you lot come up with these names? Oh my god. Guys, stop. Oh, they're in loveless. We try to keep it classy on this channel. And then Cookies and Cream, you come out with Pretzel Stick McMumbles. Oh my god. They are in a loveless marriage. He cringes when she touches him. Oh gosh. Church Nelly, you're gonna get me banned. Oh, I believe that we will find out what really happened in time. We're gonna find out in time. All right, let's end with Charles. Charles has had a very rocky time as king. I mean, we always knew it was going to be a rocky time for him. Even without his health issues, even if you take that out of the way, I don't think it's the kingship that Charles imagined in his head for all these years. But we're living in a different time, so hey ho. And he chose to be disloyal to Harry, and he's stuck with William. William, who has been leaking that his father's about to, kick the bucket for months, William, who's been leaking about his coronation for months, to the point where Channel 5 did a documentary, and in that documentary, they did a fake announcement of Charles's death. Can't make it up. So King Charles's health improvement will slap down his critics and his heir. Well, he definitely needed to slap down William. Slap down William, and I think also slap down Camilla. Camilla was getting real big for her boots. She seems to have gone quiet though. I don't know if she just wants to stay out of the way for now. No, when Camilla goes quiet, that's when you need to get real scared. So here are some photos of King Charles last week. He was busy as always. He hosted a reception at St. James's Palace. He visited the Britannia Royal Naval College. He had an absolute ball as he opened up the new Guinness Open Gate Brewery. While I think Charles is an appalling man for many reasons, I appreciate his eccentricities and his visible joy at the simple things enjoyed by peasants, like a glass of Guinness, Irish Guinness. Charles was in a particularly good mood because his cancer treatments are being reduced, and it does feel like he's turned a corner. Obviously, his heir does not share the king's delight. Thus far, we haven't heard much about how William feels about all of this, but Richard Kay, someone with deep contacts in both KP and Buckingham Palace, has some interesting things to say. Well, it's interesting that all of this time we've been getting weird leaks from William's camp about, we're planning a coronation and all of this. But as soon as Charles's health improves, silence. That's interesting. So, the king's announcement that his cancer treatment is being reduced had a hidden message for his critics. One of the Daily Mail's royal experts claimed today. Oh, so this was the announcement that he did with the stand up to cancer, right? So, Charles revealed the major boost in his battle with cancer in a video message a week ago, saying his treatment will be significantly scaled back in the new year. The monarch said in the positive update on December that the good news was down to early diagnosis, successful care, and following doctor's orders. Richard Kay, the Mail's senior editor at large, said in the latest Palace Confidential episode that the king primarily gave the speech because his treatment is changing, but he added that there was also a nod towards critics of Charles amid ongoing speculation of how the monarchy could change when William becomes king. I mean, I don't think it's going to change for anything than the worst, to be honest, considering where we are now. Also, have you noticed how they just don't even talk about Betty? They honestly, they behave as if that a whole queen never existed. Anyway, speaking to presenter Joe Elvin, Mr. Kay told the program, "There's been a lot of chatter around the royal family and the monarchy over the last few months. People are speculating about what kind of monarch Prince William is going to make and what kind of changes he might be introducing when he gets his opportunity. It was just a little reminder that the king saying, 'Hello, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere.'" You know what that reminds me of? I forget her name. You know that meme that went around ages ago? Well, it kind of goes viral every so often with a lady singing, "I'm still here, here." Like that's Charles right now. Oh, William was about to plan his coronation. "I'm still here. And while I'm king, we're going to do it my way." I think that might just slap down one or two people who have been a little bit too forward with their views. Nudge, nudge, William. I mean, William was practically picking out his robes. Can you imagine? Actually, speaking of robes, let's go back to them Adidas inspired robes. I think I've got the picture from the coronation, don't I? Where is it now? Do I have it? No, gosh, I think I might have deleted it. But just remember what Camilla and Charles were wearing, right? Can you imagine Kate and William in those outfits? I think that William would want to change what those outfits look like. Okay, so it follows claims of tension between Charles and William, which emerged over the summer, with Prince Harry's wish to reconcile with his family also at its heart. Former Vanity editor Tina Brown, oh gosh, that lady, also alleged that Charles was becoming frustrated by William's underwhelming approach to royal duties. I mean, Kate and William's laziness has been talked about for a very, very long time, so that's not even new. I think that might just slap down one or two people who have been a little forward in their views. One or two people being Scooter King, yes, and the wig, Kate and William. I'm assuming. And I completely agree. It feels like Charles' announcement put Scooter on the back foot. And that could also be, do you know what? It could actually be that Charles isn't getting better. It could be that Charles isn't getting better. They're actually not reducing his treatments, but they had to create some kind of public narrative to stop William and his ridiculous leaking. It's like the way they were going on, I was honestly convinced that we'd have a new king before the end of the year. The way William was leaking. It feels like Charles's announcement put Scooter on the back foot. I love that we're calling William Scooter now. Scooter was getting quite bold with his briefings as well. Indeed, he was. Too bold. Charles is still very much alive and king and your dad. And here you are letting us know that you're picking out new robes for your coronation. There were too many stories about William being king in all but name, and the incoming reign will make all of these changes. That being said, Charles made very similar moves against his mother in her final years too. He just wasn't a bull in a china shop about it. Indeed, Charles was doing the same thing, but he wasn't obvious about it to the point where I didn't even notice. It was only when the Queen finally did pass away, I remembered in February of that same year there being an article about Charles and planning his coronation. And that's when it struck me like, whoa, these people knew that Betty was very, very ill. They knew. And Charles had been briefing. The Queen died, what, in September? Since February of that year. This is why I'm saying Charles coming out and saying, oh, my treatments are getting better, or they're being reduced. It could all just be a facade. Could. Because indeed, William he's getting too bold. Way too bold. Where was he getting the confidence to brief against his own dad? Still the king. But that is how the year is ending. Now, can you imagine Christmas at Sarrington this year? If we're having Christmas at Sarrington this year. We know Andrew's not invited. All right. Let's wrap things up. Thank you so much, everyone, as always. Sorry I took 2 days off, but no only did I need to rest, there wasn't really a whole lot to say, to be honest. We had the Christmas card. Harry and Meghan will be enjoying the holidays. The other royals will be in the house anyway. Black Queen, you said Chuck will live till he's over 100, like his mama. Only want this for Willie and his roommate. Indeed. I hope that Harry's dad has a lot more years on him. I wish him a long reign, a long reign, a long and healthy reign. I've been saying that. Because you just know it's going to drive William cuckoo. He's acting desperate and cuckoo now. I hope Charles lives until 100. And not only until that he lives until he's 100, that he's healthy and sentient until 100. Long live King Charles. Oh, by the way, here's a bit of dopamine, everyone. Here's some dopamine. This is a King Charles Cavalier, named after King Charles II. Also happens to be my favorite dog. This is the dog that I want when I finally have my own home. King Charles II loved them so much that he would bring them into Parliament. And fun fact of the day, it was a choice of dog for aristos and rich folk in them days. And now, as you can see, it's a very fluffy dog with its long hair. So people used to put them on their feet to warm their feet. There's your fun royal fact of the day. Brought to you by two very cute puppies. Okay, let's finish with your comments. Where's David Beckham? Why are you asking about David Beckham? David is enjoying his knighthood that he finally got after crawling on the floor, tap dancing, doing the most. He finally got it in this here 2025. I agree, personally. Meghan is not going to discourage Harry from making efforts with his family, but he better be careful or he will be looking for Meghan in daylight with a flashlight. Yeah. I don't think Meghan is you're right. Meghan's not going to discourage him, but I do think that Harry, I get the feeling that he wants to try and see some good in his family and not the truth in his family. And the problem with the other royals and why there will never be any reconciliation, it's not because Harry doesn't want peace with his family. It's because his family members have too many skeletons in their closet. That's why. And they're being held hostage by the tabloids. This is why it's always better. It doesn't matter how dark and nasty your own truth is, it's better you say your own truth. Because it takes power away from those that are holding that nasty truth over your head. We know there are things that Charles is hiding. We know there are things that William is hiding, especially in regards to his marriage, allegedly. Those things hold less power if you just come out and admit them yourself. Because let's be honest, a lot of these royalists are complete bird brains. They are bird brains. All it's going to take is one very clever, PR campaign, PR spin, and it'll be forgotten the next day. Now, will it have maybe some effect on the monarchy? Probably. But you freed yourself from the clutches of the tabloids, and then they've got nothing to hold you to. Now you're a prisoner of your own truths. And you have to cover those with all the lies. Or, as we saw with Harry and Meghan, throw your family members under the bus to cover up your truths. Better to just come out and say it. Say everything. People have short-term memory. I mean, just look at the whole Prince Andrew thing, right? This Prince Andrew thing has been going on for how long? For how long have we known? But he was still there. But people were still defending him. Even the other week, Charles went out, did an event. There was a brave man in the crowd saying, "Hey, I want to talk about Prince Andrew. Tell us what you knew about Prince Andrew." And you have some crazy lady yelling at the protester instead of yelling at Charles, who's right there, who should be able to answer those questions. That's why I'm saying there's not really a whole lot that the royals could come out with that would be so offensive to people. It's not like it would end the monarchy. Like if William and Kate divorced, for example, it's not like that's going to end the monarchy. Now, would it maybe put a dent in their image? Sure, maybe. William will just remarry and then it will just carry on. We're not going to have a whole referendum because William and Kate divorced. They're allowing the tabloids to keep them in this trap. And so Harry will never have peace with his family because they don't want to be honest about themselves. Okay. I think we can end things there. Thank you as always, everyone. Wishing you a fantastic Christmas. I will be back today. I may even be back around on Christmas Day. I'm not having my Christmas dinner until late where I am on this side of the planet. So I may actually do a podcast in the morning. Maybe just a light catch up and a light chat. Might do some call-ins if you're around. But other than that, I really do hope that you're enjoying the holidays. Take some time to rest, eat lots of food, spend time with your family and friends. If you don't have, close loved ones, just take some time to, I don't know, meditate, journal, romanticize your life, put on a nice playlist, maybe practice some of Meghan's, dishes, and just take some time out to unwind as this 2025, this latest cycle comes to an end. All right, y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow. Ciao.